unemployment and conditions of service are the two main issues that job seekers and employers will be faced with in this new year of 2021. Even though the year is young, we have had reports of strikes and labor agitations across public institutions. We've also seen a desperate search for limited jobs by workers who lost their jobs to the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, although the deadly disease is still lingering. Of course, we also have the TUC raise concerns about the need for a pay rise this year. For obvious reasons, they claim that they've not been able to negotiate increases in the national daily minimum wage and the base pay on the single spine salary structure for public sector workers. We have seen most of their members embark on nationwide strike actions, especially when they feel the conditions of service are not favorable enough. Let's now dissect this issue proper, because we're joined via Zoom by the president of the Institute of Human Resource Practitioners, who also happens to manage the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. We're also joined by a leadership and career coach, Emmeline Date, who's going to be helping us out on how to stand out when structuring your CV to your prospective employer. Gentlemen and lady, we're grateful that you joined us via Zoom. I want to start off with you, Dr. Kwapon. First of all, we engaged you last year on pay increases, and you said it must be justified. Do you still stand by that point?
Well, in all situations when employees ask for pay increase, we seek to find some justification in terms of the extent to which the value of the CV has eroded over a period of time. So it's the interplay between what we have created, what we need to share, and what has been devalued over a period. So yes, I still maintain that in all situations there should be the interplay between the two factors. Well, so how governed of course by the ability to pay. Do we have the money in the first place? Yes.
Great. So how far advanced are talks to increase? Hello. Can you hear me, Doc?
Yes. Now I can hear you. The line dropped, but
yeah, we'll try our best to. We'll try our best. Well, how far advanced are talks to increase the minimum wage? Because we do know this is one of the main concerns the TUC is raising.
Yes. You know, somewhere in August last year, we met, and there was the request for us.
Dr. Kwapon, I think we may have to come back to you shortly. The connection isn't that favorable.
But then we all came to a consensus that...
Okay, let's try this out.
The effect of the pandemic, COVID-19, had not been assessed. The effect of the economy had not been assessed. So it was too early yet, and therefore we should give ourselves a bit of time. And so beginning of this year, or towards the end of last year, organized labor indicated that perhaps the time has come for us to start. So we are just waiting for the normalization of the situation after the elections, and then we can kickstart process.
Great. Well, of course, we do know that we're currently on the verge of various, labor agitations. Currently, we're hearing that sort of table across various public educational institutions. But how do employers juggle between the constraint of COVID-19 as well as the demand for conditions of service?
Well, you realize that some of the private sector institutions laid off workers in the midst of COVID-19. Gradually, they have been re-engaged. And I think re-engagement is in itself a big relief. So that going forward, you see how our fortunes grow and improve. And with that, negotiate for better conditions of service. It has always been the demand of workers to improve their conditions of service. So yes, we are ready, but it should be backed by the ability to pay. We have the funding, yes.
Well, finally, where do you see labor issues, the establishment of employer-employee relations in 2021? Because this year, as compared to others, is going to be the game changer. We're just back from a heavily, constrained year of 2020 with regards to COVID-19.
Yes. as we recover from the effect of COVID-19, naturally workers will come back asking the employer, and the government is a big.
I'm afraid we have lost Dr. Kwapon there. He is the president of the Institute of Human Resource Practitioners on the conditions of service and labor issues this year. Well, of course, still on issues regarding employment. Many of you out there watching might have suffered the brunt of being laid off due to COVID-19. You're starting all over again, having to find yourself a job, a good job. And it's going to take you a very good CV. It's going to take you how best you could stand out in the face of your prospective employer. I'm not an expert, so we have brought on board a leadership coach, an employment coach as well, Emmeline Date, to help us understand how best to stand out in this uncertain times of unemployment amid a global pandemic. Emmeline, we're grateful that you joined us. Having to find a job in 2021 could be very much a daunting task, but you are a coach. Help us understand. What's the secret?
Okay, so absolutely, you're so correct. We are in abnormal times. The labor sector has changed and keeps changing, keeps evolving. Human resource has also evolved, and so a lot of pressure has come upon the labor force. And so one of the things quickly I'll say is that in response to change, you also need to respond. Okay. If you refuse to change, you die. And so one of the things that the abnormal times have shown us that we need to reskill or upskill. It means that the skill which we used to have in the past may not necessarily be relevant today. And even for those that are still relevant, you may need to tweak it to suit the times. And so amidst all the confusion and all of that, we just need to calm down and relax and ask ourselves, what is needed right now? What skills do I have? What is the gap? Then with the gap, you're able to make a decision on how to reskill yourself. That is, if you have the skill to upgrade it, or to upskill if you don't have the skill at all.
So how then do you step up with your resume, your CV, having to attract the needed employer in 2021? What special things should our viewer out there do, those seeking for jobs in 2021? Okay,
so one of the things you need to understand is that there are certain skills that are needed right now. In the past, we could list out about 20 skills needed, for you to succeed in the employment, so the world of work, to say. Today, I will give you 5 skills that you need to demonstrate on your CV. But first of all, people need to understand what a CV is and what a good CV is. We all know a CV is actually a detailed document that shows your academic and your professional experiences. But a good CV is actually clear, concise, and has necessary information to make your potential employer actually make a decision to engage you for an interview and possibly potential employment. Now, what your employer is looking for are simple but straightforward information. For example, your educational experience and your professional experience, your skills as well. These 3 things are the things that you need to highlight properly for you to be engaged or called for an engagement in an interview. What are the skills you're looking for in 2021 and beyond? Number 1, you have to be assertive. 2, you need to be confident. 3, you need to be resourceful. 4, you need to be flexible, or what we say, you need to be agile. And lastly, you need to be able to exhibit emotional intelligence. Now, because of the way times are, even employers are still trying to find out how to even, swim within the tide of confusion, business uncertainty, and all of that. Every employer is looking for an employee that will help them to move through change and still achieve their strategic goal. So whenever you are drafting your CV, please do not make your CV the same for every job you're looking for. Understand what each job requires, and if you have the skill, the knowledge and the ability, ensure that you design your CV to respond or to be aligned with the job that you're looking for. That is one way to stand out. Now, some people will say, I don't have so much experience, or where I work, I wasn't given that kind of experience. That is why I said you need to reskill or upskill yourself. You don't need to wait for anybody to do that for you. Thank God for online courses. Thank God for free volunteer opportunities. Don't sit at home and just say, oh, the job market is difficult, there's so much issues around. No, this is the time for you to be calm, identify your strengths, and then work on your weaknesses and upgrade, so that just in case you see a job opportunity that you are interested in, you will not be left out.
Great advice there. We're so grateful that you joined us. I want to end with Dr. Kwapon, who is currently online. We're thankful for the patience. Just before the line juggled, we're asking you specifically, where do you see 2021 when it comes to conditions of service and a good employer-employee relations, Dr. Kwapon?
Well, I can foresee employees asking for better terms and conditions, having been denied certain aspects of certain elements of the remuneration. So I can see them coming to management to ask for these. Right. Management will, of course, respond, match ability to pay. What are we raking in? Do we have anything in the kitty to give out to workers? Now, let me say this, that having even returned to work after the lockdown and the loss of jobs, even maintaining them at this level should be okay from the employer's perspective. But the employees will ask for more, and there will be that balancing act to ensure that business continues. So yes, there will be agitations for improvements in conditions of service.
Great. Dr. Kwapon, I know
that the law, the Labour Act, says whenever you are negotiating, you should negotiate in good faith, as per Section 97 of the Act. And therefore, we expect that we'll be very transparent with each other and work towards coming to consensus or agreement. So at the end of the day, there will be peace at the labor front. The labor movement is now highly informed, highly educated, and they would understand issues from a management's perspective and vice versa. So I foresee a healthy relationship. Having a job alone is in itself some kind of motivation. And so returning to your job, being assured of a security of tenure and asking for a little more, I think both parties can entertain this.
We're so grateful that you joined us. Dr. Kwapon, he is the president of the Institute of Human Resource Practitioners. Also, we're grateful that you joined us as well, our career coach for this afternoon. And I believe that all the pointers that you raised were very much legit for our viewers out there. Thank you once again.